Like anything, this is a learning process, and having never worked on the John Deere horizontal engines, and I've always worked on the vertical ones like that John Deere sitting there, that 40. This has been a learning trip, and I figured out some things. So far along the way I figured out different things. But I tell you one that stumped the crap out of me, and I couldn't figure it out. And I just did, by accident, kind of. So, last night, or for the longest time, I've had this fork, this brass fork, I just couldn't figure out how to get this darn thing to come off. And I ended up bending it, as you see here, which I'm going to attempt to put back into shape, but I bent it because I couldn't get it out. I mean, I tried and I talked to a bunch of old timers about it, and they said, listen, it sounds like your clutch is engaged. Just keep prying it and prying it and prying on it until it comes out. Okay? They said you might break it, you might bend it, but just keep slowly prying and applying pressure until it comes out. So that's what I did. Once that happened, I couldn't get the damn drum off. I can't sit here and I couldn't figure out nothing online. Nobody online talked about how to get this drum off. Nowhere. So I sat here and I tried all night long to get this damn drum off. And I couldn't get it off. Couldn't figure out how to get it off. I tried everything I could. I tried spinning it, everything. And this thing, I'm gonna tell you, this thing froze up. It froze up pretty good because of all the rust and crap that's behind this right now. Well, by accident, I came over here and I was gonna spin it, see if I could spin the drum. I was kind of just pushing on it like this, just pushing on it. Not really hard, not really, just kind of screwing around, touching stuff, you know. Not really putting any pressure on it, and I went like that. Sure enough, I popped the drum clean off. Barely put any pressure on it and it slid the drum off. Now, I also beat this thing with a hammer last night. Did it right in the center. I beat it with a hammer. In the center of this pulley, I guess they call it a pulley, it's the belt pulley. I beat it with a hammer, and I had a piece of wood, and I kept beating the shit out of it in the center, trying to see if I could break something loose, because I figured it was a rust issue. Well, if you give me a second, I'll show you what the real issue is with this clutch, and the reason why it was stuck in engage mode and I couldn't get it out. This video is kind of for the people that can't figure out how to get this clutch off. Step 1 on a 60. If you're new to this kind of work, I'm telling you now, because don't nobody explain this, okay? Don't nobody show you how to do this on YouTube. What you do is you take this cover off here. This cover runs to your clutch, runs to your fork right here. That fork slides a piece in and out behind the clutch, okay? Take this cover off. If you have a hard time trying to get this cover off because your clutch is stuck engaged, you can't get it loose, just keep prying on it. You're probably going to bend the brass fork. Take it to somebody who knows how to work with metal and can bend it back. If not, see if you can buy another one. I bet mine, I know how to work with metal, so I'm going to try to bend it back. If it don't work, I'm going to go out and buy a new one. This was stuck, locked down like this slider. Now it's not anymore. But this whole system, I did not understand how this clutch worked, okay? Because there was all the diagrams I kept looking at and I just couldn't figure it out. Until I pulled it off and I was like, holy shit, that makes a lot of sense. So, there are pins here. These are your adjustment bolts, or I guess what they call them, or something other like that. These are adjustment bolts, okay? These are what your castle nuts are on. This is where everything that keeps the clutch together right here. Now, if anybody knows anything about these tractors, they can already see what's wrong with this clutch system right here. But first off, these are your adjustment bolts. Notice that one's bent. Notice this one's bent, and I'm pretty sure this one's bent as well, but I can't get it off because I kind of mushroomed the end of it trying to beat the damn thing out of here. So now I gotta take a grinder and grind the mushrooms off, and then I can tap it out. No problem. So, notice something else. This is where the water line, you see the water line here? This was the bottom. This is the problem here. It rusted up. It got a lot of water here, rusted it, so of course I'm gonna fight that one. These are supposed to slide, okay, in these holes right here. These are supposed to slide back and forth in these holes, okay? And now obviously I'm not going to do that because of all the rust and crap. supposed to slide back and forth on these holes. And if you look at this, this is called the dog. Okay, that's called a toggle, which is funny because this looks like a dog bone. But this is called the toggle, or this is called the dog, this is called the toggle. This dog, you notice here, that it's cast and it is split here, it's broken. Okay, these forks are supposed to be higher up. They sit behind this adjustment, this bolt right here. Okay, when this bolt's all the way in, they sit there, and what's supposed to happen is when you depress the clutch, the brass fork sits, I believe, in this groove right here, and it's supposed to move. So this would be disengaged, that would be engaged. Disengaged, engaged. So while this is disengaged, okay, notice these toggles are going to move down. What they would do is they'd force this and turn these forks up that are on the end of these dogs. When it does that, it's going to pull these bolts out, and then what happens when it pulls the bolts into the drum, okay, into this, they call it the belt pulley. When it pulls it into the belt pulley system, it pulls all the clutch plates together. Alright, after it pulls all the clutch plates together, your tractor starts moving, the more and more them clutch plates come together. Alright, at some point you'll reach a certain point in this fork where it should somewhat kind of lock forward. The clutch should lock forward until you pull it back again. When you pull it back, this will rise. This slider right here will rise, okay, which will in turn remove play from the end of these toggles and pull these dogs down. What it will in turn do is these slider pins, these bolts will move back into the clutch. When they move back into the clutch under the spring force that's applied through the plate, that there, you see the plate over there, you can see the spring sitting over there on the end of the plate. That's rusty. But when that happens, that the springs will pull that clutch back apart and you disengage the clutch. I kept looking at diagrams and I kept watching videos on this, and I couldn't figure it out until I pulled it off myself and looked at it, and I was like, oh, I'll be damned. So for what it is, I see it being a problem too if you don't keep this thing this inside of this drum really clean. And you can see here, this is why it wouldn't stay clean, all the rust and crap that's in here that's got to come out. I'm probably going to have to take this whole thing apart and have it sandblasted just so I can get all the scum out of here. But I can see this being a problem if you don't keep this really clean behind here, and if any dust and dirt and water gets behind here, as somehow it did behind here and just held water because the dirt, I assume, hung along this edge, okay, and created a seal between this is what they call a dust plate, or a dust seal plate or something like that. Created a seal right between here because just enough dirt got in between here and it held water. You can see that there. So that's definitely a problem. Let's see if I can do it. I can't do it by this side. Well, the engine still turns over. I'm pretty happy about that. Every day I come out here and I turn it a little bit. I try to make a full cycle on it just to keep it loose. I try to turn it at least a full cycle so that it'll keep it loose. That way it don't freeze back up on me again. I just got my covers in from an old boy. I'll put his business card up on here. I just got that cover, and I just got my new generator bracket. And I'm about to order some new parts from him. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I'm about to order some more parts from him. But if you ever want to figure out how to do this, well, that's how you do it. And unfortunately, in my case, these pins have rusted to the inside of these dogs. As you can see here, it's moving the pin as well as the dog. So now I'm going to have to fight tooth and nail to get these dogs out. And it's going to be a hell of a time, let me tell you. It's going to be a hell of a time, I know that. But I got to fight to get those out. I'm going to see if I can reuse the toggles down in there. I'm definitely going to have to get new dogs because all the dogs are busted. Every one of them. Busted, busted, busted. This one, the dog was almost non-existent. The forks on the end of the dog was almost non-existent because it had rusted so bad. But the things you learn, man. This thing definitely needs a lot of grease. I want to see if I can get this crust off. Maybe pull this bearing off here. everything. This is all free in here. It's actually quite very free, which I like. It don't seem like there's very much play in the gears when I just did that. The other thing I came out here and checked today is the end play and the PTO. And this thing is tighter and freaking, well, we won't say what, but it's tight. There's still hydraulic oil in here. If you depress the lever here, you get the hydraulic oil to come out one way or the other. But that needs plugs because I'm putting a 3-point hitch on this. Oh man, let me tell you, there it comes. Look at that. And that's good oil too. As far as I know, there's not any water in this. I kept screwing around with turning the engine and trying to stir up oil and trying to get it to come up on this gear. And I haven't found any water on it yet, or any white milkiness to it, so hopefully we're good. Oh, I remember what it was. It was a water pump. I was asking him if he had a water pump that wasn't seized on that 60 parts tractor he has, because this one's pretty well seized. And I'm going to try to take it off and fix it, but if I don't, I think for what he's going to charge me for this water pump, it ain't going to be much, so I ain't going to worry about it. That, or I can go buy a brand new one from Steiner for $170. Brand new one. It's not even a reman, it's a brand new one. I sure hope that my power steering pump is in good shape, but I really don't want to have to go buy one of those. I can find them. Eaton, I think Eaton is the manufacturer on it. I can find one, but anyways, it's supposed to be a quick video and it's turned into 12 minutes so far, at least before I've edited it. And I just wanted to show you guys this, showed you guys where I am at, because this right here, boy, that's gonna be fun to fix. I know that. Holy crap, it's gonna be fun to fix. Oh, the other thing I want to see if I can find is a distributor, because this one's pretty well screwed up. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get it to work, but if it won't, I guess I'm in a new distributor. I gotta find a new ball joint here. I'm supposed to be ordering another. I gotta see if I can get this off without destroying this. I gotta replace the spring as well. I got my throttle rod off. Thank God. Hopefully this new spring's easy to find. I gotta get a new one of these. If not, I'm gonna be screwed. I'm gonna have to order this rod from him. Hopefully I don't have to replace the governor. And friction plates are cheap. But I'll have to find a new spring for that, because that spring is well gone. My biggest concern right now is, you see that? That's bad news. My biggest concern right now that I'm worried about, that I'm gonna have a lot of trouble with, is right here. Take a very good look. They're damn near round. So I can order a new battery box, but I'm gonna fight like hell to get these things out. And if I gotta figure out how I'm gonna tap these things, man, shit. So be it. Yeah, this is the other part of it. Look at this. Flat. You can't even tell where the bolt begins if you didn't know better. Flat. Rusted away. Man, y'all don't understand. There's gonna be some work. There's gonna be some. This tractor's gonna make me work for it. I tell you that. It's gonna make me work for every bit of my enjoyment in it. Like this, packed full of dirt, dude. Look at the Bendix, man. I would not surprised that starter is not worth a crap. I have to freaking. I wonder. I ought to get that starter from him too. Because I guarantee you that starter ain't worth a crap. And you know what the problem is? It's this stuff right here. This fine, silty soil. It's so fine and so velvety that it just keeps building up over time until it creates a perfect seal. Like you come out to Florida, man, we got this sand, man, it's crap. Sand is dry, it blows right off, you know. This really fine, velvety crap, man, it just stuck to everything, anything that it could stick to, man. And look how fine it is. It's like playing with like a girl's mascara or something. That's how fine and powdery this is. Oh, so update on these. I'm not going to restore them. I'm just going to take those off and take that off. Take off my tach / speedometer and stick them all in a shadow box. I found somebody who sells remanufactured ones that still say John Deere on them, and they look brand new. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna order. I think he wanted $100 something for them. So actually, I think it was cheaper than that. I think he wanted $50 for them. All 4 of them. A brand new tack and 4 gauges or 3 gauges here. And they all say John Deere on them. They all look brand new, and so I'm gonna get those. Just hoping the axle seals aren't leaky, because they look pretty wore out on the ends. I'm hoping they ain't leaky. I'm hoping nothing else leaks on this thing. I'm hoping if I don't break it open, and I just leave it alone, nothing will leak. Because hopefully that's what happens. If I don't touch nothing, I just leave it alone, nothing might leak. I'll be very thankful, and nothing will leak until I restore it. If I go start touching crap, I'll probably get leaks everywhere. That's why I've really been trying my hardest not to tear this open if I didn't have to. If I didn't have to tear something off of it, I've been trying not to. So I didn't have to worry about putting stuff back on or replacing the engine seals. It's like $275 for a complete motor or a complete tractor gasket kit. So she looks like shit now. She looks like she'll never run, but trust me. You give me a couple more months, you give me 2 months on this tractor, and she'll be running. She might not be restored, but she'll be running. And she might have a crap ton of gray paint all over her, but she'll be running. That's what my plan is. For now, I'm just gonna go buy like a whole box of spray paint gray primer. A really good gray primer. The stuff that'll stick to anything, no matter how rusty it is. And I'm just gonna spray everything down that doesn't have paint to it. And it doesn't have a patina like this. If it doesn't have patina and it doesn't have paint, I'm gonna spray the crap out of it. And if the primer doesn't stick and it flakes off a little bit, or the rust makes it flake off, I'll prime it again. I'm just gonna keep priming the crap out of this thing until I can afford to have somebody paint it for me. Now I can paint it myself like we did with this, but I really don't have the time for it. I really don't. Not when I work 6 days a week. So I tell you what, boy. She's gonna make me work for it. Every dollar of it. Every hard blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, I tell you. She's gonna make me work for every bit of it. I'm already paying for it. But it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.